say, James? What do we say? Hey y'all, and welcome back. So in today's video with the James's assistants, his eager assistants, I have this beautiful bookcase. I'm not sure what it was. I realized it had some hooks on the back, but maybe this was a bottom piece of like some China hut. I'm not sure. But anyway, my mother gave this to me a couple years ago and it's in rough shape. And so for a while now, I've been wanting to sand it and stain it, but I did notice it has a few flawed areas on the top where the veneer has chipped away. So this is where James comes in. He is gonna teach me how to fill all those spots with this stainable wood filler. Right, James?
Oh yeah.
And then hopefully when we stain it, we can make it look all cohesive. And I'm gonna be using, I've never used this before, the Poly Shade Bombay Mahogany. And it's got your stain and polyurethane all in one step, which is awesome because I thought I was gonna have to do polyurethane separate. But anyway, and then we have our 150 grit and 220 grit sandpaper. We also have, because it has these beautiful little cutouts on the side, which I absolutely love. I think this makes this piece so unique. I have my little Dremel tool, but on further inspection, I may just end up hand sanding that. What do you think? You think so? I'm afraid of taking off any of the detail, so I may just end up hand sanding that, but that's what we're gonna be working on today. So if that's something you're interested in, just keep on watching. And I'm sorry, I will try to get him to just calm it down and not like take over like he has so far, but you know, people think you're grumpy. We'll be right back and get this process started. Okay, James. What is the first thing we need to do? Because we really need to focus on this top up here where all the veneer's chipping. Should we lay it on its side?
First thing you want to do is you want to take the rougher grit sandpaper, go ahead and knock as much of the finish off. We'll worry about repairing the damaged spots in just a few minutes, but the first thing we want to do is get it down, see what shape the rest of the wood's in. If the veneer's going to chip and peel in days to come, then we need to go ahead and take that layer of veneer off. One of the places that she was worried about was right along this top edge, and if you'll see, the veneer is just pulled back a little bit. The thing you don't want to do is put new stain on a project and have the veneer further chip and peel away. So we'll be working through this to make sure that all of it is either glued down extremely tight or replaced, repaired.
We have some of the same issues right here as well. And this is why I think this was a bottom piece to some kind of hutch or something, because it has these on the back. I never noticed that before. These little, where it would screw into something. We have some missing veneer here as well.
I think these spots are going to be small enough that we can just build up with stainable wood putty. But this is one of the areas she was concerned about. She don't want to lose the flare or the contours in these things. Sometimes your Dremel tool or some smaller sanding tools can get quite aggressive. And if you damage one of these, guess what? You'll be repairing all of them.
And upon further inspection, I can see where James has done a very poor job of dusting such items. Look at all them. Look, James, I could write my name in that.
It's above my pay grade.
I mean, what is your excuse for this?
My wife's a slacker.
So this is the 150 grit sandpaper that we're gonna start with first and just start sanding. What you doing, James?
Sanding.
So I got the top sanded. I did have to go change my shirt and I just put on this old apron because this is a messy job. I got the top sanded down as smooth as I could. Do I need to really go over these? Do I need to sand this part, James? Or just keep it flat like I did?
Keep it flat like you did.
Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Here's a closer look at the top. This was the worst part of it, but then over here, this corner is kind of messed up. The veneer's kind of chipped off there. But I think this part that I was worried about kind of really smoothed out. And what was you saying, James?
Every solution isn't a high-tech solution. Sometimes it's just using what you have. If you'll notice the shape of these edges right here, there's a square corner. Mm-hmm. Take an old scrap piece of wood, wrap your sandpaper around it. Make sure you got a good fresh angle on the edge of the wood. And just work it down in there. And what that's going to do is that's going to help you remove some of the old stain. You don't want it splotchy whenever you go back with your new stain. A little bit of effort makes all the difference in the world. The rounded edge, you can even take a number 2 pencil, wrap it up in the sandpaper, and it goes right in that little radius edge. Helps you maintain the shape of the rounded edge.
You are so smart, James. Where are you going? All right, so what we're gonna do, I'm not gonna bore y'all with a bunch of footage of me sanding. We're gonna get all this sanded, and then once we get everything sanded, I'll come back and we will come back and he will show us how.
She will come back.
We will come back and he will show us how to do the stain putty, the stainable wood putty, wood filler, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so once we get this sanded, then we'll be back and move on to the next step. I mean, sanding, of course, just a reminder, you want to go with the grain of your wood. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a lot of work.
Remember when you're working with veneers, some of the veneers are extremely thin. If you get too aggressive with your sandpaper,
yeah,
it'll cause you more work.
Okay, so this is the progress we've made so far. I had to turn it up on its side to kind of get like this part, and then I'll rotate it so I could get the underneath and all that fun stuff. So we just went to Harbor Freight. Tell them what we got, James.
We typically use an orbital sander with your round disc. Doesn't work real well in the corners. So I went and bought a small palm sander. Now, they do make sanders, sanding pads for our oscillating tool. But guess where the oscillating tool is?
In George County at the Reno property. Sorry.
Would have been a nice application for this because it'll get up in the corners and all. They do make sanders with the pointed heads on them. Unfortunately, they were sold out. So we just went ahead and got the square body tool. It'll do fine. Get us up in there close. Get her up in there close.
You're not gonna help me out?
I'm QA on this one.
I have been saying.
I am QA on this one.
I have been a sanding fool.
So anyway, the square base will make it a little bit easier for her to get up close to it.
And then what do we do where that doesn't reach? Then what would we do? Use our finger and some sandpaper?
This is an old time tool. No electric motors on it or anything. Doesn't have a switch. Doesn't even have a cord coming off of it. It fits in your hand.
And you're gonna do that part?
Whose project is this?
Our project.
All right, then the other part of our. But anyway, the sanding block is just that. Something to give you a little bit of weight so that you can get it up close to the edge.
I mean, so this honestly could be done if you didn't have all the electrical tools. You could do it by hand. It would just be a lot longer. So don't think that you have to go out and buy tools. But we kind of like our tools around here, so it'll be just one to add to our collection, huh, James?
That's it. They make new ones every day.
All right, so I'm about to load this sucker up and get back to sanding. Okay, so we had to quit yesterday because the little palm sander that we got just wasn't working, and the tool that we needed was actually in Georgia County. So we got it today, and now James is fixing to show me how to use it, and I think it's gonna make this job go a lot easier. So let's see.
This is just one of the economy oscillating tools. I find these more and more common nowadays. They have cutter heads that go on them as well. We'll be using a sander head. And if you'll think back to yesterday when we were using the pad sanders, those are square, kind of hard to get up in the corner. So the oscillating tool actually comes with a tapered head that you can get a little bit closer up into the corners. Whenever you're sanding, you want to try and use as much of the pad base as you can, because if not, you will wear out the little Velcro that goes on these pads. Just as simple as turning it on, turning it off. It'll vibrate, sand away.
All right, show me how it works, James. Do this whole section right here for me, James.
I will show you how it's going to work.
And then I've got to do it.
That's it.
So we got a pretty good bit of it sanded off. As you can see, it's just like around all the edges where I couldn't get. So, and this is a messy, messy job. Was I covered in this or what?
My little Oompa Loompa.
Turn around. Other way. Do the hokey pokey. All right, so this is gonna be
All that was recording?
Yeah, this is gonna be time consuming. So I'm gonna get this finished, and then we're gonna move on to the
Bigger and better things.
the wood filler and all of that. Oh, but I did try the stain out, that poly shade stain. Don't like it, and I'm glad I tried it on a test board. I don't like the color, and I don't like the way that it goes on, so I will be getting a different stain. So let me get this finished sanded.
She could have told you that when she got the new stain and showed you what she got. But no, we endeavor into that now because you need to know.
Bah humbug.
Wow, humbug.
Okay. Okay. This is not working. He's laughing because this is our third time to try to film this. But this is not working, James. All these wonderful tools that you have are just not what we need for this.
It is not making it easy enough. I understand.
No, it's not that. I don't mind. Oh my God. Really? Anyway, so I decided I'm going to paint it.
We're going to be spraying this bad boy.
No, I'm going to paint it with the brush.
Oh, Lord.
I would love to save the wood because I love the stained wood. I'm not necessarily fond of painting the older pieces like this because I think they're beautiful on their own, but this one was just too far gone, and I'm sucking at this. And you're sucking at this too. So, when I started this, I always knew in the back of my mind there may be a possibility I have to paint. And that's what I'm going to do. So we've got it sanded. We're going to go back over it with our 220 to smooth everything out that we've sanded so far. We're going to patch the veneer on the top and everything. And then I'm going to paint it. I think that's just going to be the best thing. And that's my decision. Would you like to say something?
Click subscribe. There's more entertainment to be had with this one.
No, I mean, I'm very frustrated because you know how it is when you have a vision in your head. It's just not working. I can't make it work. And you can't make it work for me. Because you have really tried.
No, I did.
You have really tried. I'm giving you props, James. So we're gonna paint. Okay? And it's gonna be beautiful, and it's gonna look better than it did. Right?
Absolutely, Raggy.
Oh my God. All right, so let us get this cleaned up, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna start filling in the spots where the veneers messed up. Okay, I've decided I'm gonna try one more thing before I paint. We're fixing to go to Lowe's, and I'm gonna get some stripper and see if I can finish stripping off in the areas that I can't reach with my sander, and see if that will work. And if that doesn't work, I've tried everything that I can do, and I'm just gonna paint it, which I think will look fine. But while I'm there, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the stain that I need. But, you know, I'm including this because, you know, I just wanna let you know, this happens. You know, this is real life, this can happen. We are not professionals, and, you know, this happens. So that's why I'm including this, just to let you know everything doesn't always work out perfect, but, you know, it is what it is. So we're gonna go to Lowe's, get the stripper, get some stain, and paint for backup, and get back and see what we can do. Okay, so we started this project on Saturday, run into our issues, and we left Sunday to go get some stripper. I'm having reservations about stripping it. I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna test the wood filler with a little bit of stain to see how it's gonna take it and the color of it, because I'm thinking it's not gonna be the right color. So I'm really leaning toward, don't do it, James.
Stressing me out. That's what you mean.
I'm really leaning toward painting it because it's such a beautiful piece, and I really don't think the wood filler is gonna stain properly, but we're gonna test it just like anything else. We're gonna put a little bit of the wood filler on a piece of scrap wood and then let that dry, sand it like we would if we were gonna put it on this piece, and then we're gonna go over it with some stain. In the meantime, we are gonna go ahead and be using the wood filler to patch the places on the piece, because it's gonna need it anyway.
Yeah, we are.
And no, I'm gonna help you. And then it's either gonna be stained or painted. We'll just have to see. So let's get to patching this wood, and we're gonna do a test strip. So be right back. What'd you do? Cut out a dent in a piece of wood? So he's cut out, gouged out a piece. James, you're like doing this way too technical. And we're gonna patch this up. James, you are so serious.
You want it to be realistic, don't you? You want to know.
You are so good.
Just like icing a cake.
Okay.
Butter in your toast.
Okay.
Put mayonnaise on your hamburger. Fat boys like hamburgers.
And DIYs with their wife.
Fat boys like hamburgers.
And DIYs with their wife. Okay, so this is our test strip. We're gonna let this dry. And now we're gonna start patching this area right here. And this is why I'm so concerned about the stain wood filler not taking the color, because this is the very front, the very top. If it didn't match, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. So this is why I wanna do the test, just to see. So we're gonna be fixing this part. We have a little spot over here we need to fix. And I think that's pretty much it, huh, James?
That's all I'm doing.
Okay. And just so y'all don't forget, he's all mine, ladies. He's all mine. This big old ray of sunshine is all mine.
That's exactly right. It's not an exact science. You're gonna have to work at it. It's one of those things you just finesse.
Yes. Okay, so like we would, if if we were gonna stain this, we're gonna let both of this dry overnight, right, James?
Actually, in about an hour.
We can come back out in an hour. It should be dry, as thick as this is.
That's not thick. This part is thick.
Okay, we're gonna let this dry for an hour.
And then we'll come back out and check it.
No, actually, we're gonna let this dry overnight because I'm fixing to go get a bath. I'm tired. I've worked all day and I'm nasty.
Okay.
So
we'll agree on that.
Okay, so we're gonna let this dry.
Folks, y'all got to understand
overnight.
Sarcasm goes a long way.
We're gonna let this dry overnight, and then we're gonna come back out tomorrow. Oh God, this is why he's not in my videos. It's taken me 3 days to get this far. $1,999, $998. Go away. Okay, as I was saying, we're gonna let this dry overnight. Then we're gonna come back tomorrow. We're gonna sand it down, test the stain on this piece, and then I'm sure we're gonna have to add more. We're gonna sand down the shelf, and then I'm sure we'll have to like add more filler. Am I correct, James?
We'll just check it, make sure everything's straight.
And then we will proceed with either stain or paint. At this point, I have no idea which one. We shall see. All right, so we're out here in the garage, and it has been a week since we did our little test piece. Things just got crazy. We were not able to get to it. So this is the piece that we're gonna test it out. So now I'm about to sand this. Then we're gonna put our stain on it. Was I doing it wrong, James? Okay, so James took over with the sanding because I was sanding it incorrectly. So this is where our filler is, and this is where our filler is. So now I'm gonna get my stain. So this is a stain I picked out. Red mahogany in the men wax. I like the stain, I've used it, I know the color. So, let me get it shook up. Shake, shake, shake. All right, James, moment of truth. Okay, that does that. This right here is why I don't want to stain it, because you can see where we did our wood filler, and I just don't want to take that chance. So we shall paint. So what I've done is I've filled in a little more here. Had a little spot I had to fill in some more here. Along this back ledge I had to fill in. And then this side was fine, but on this side, I had to work on some of the tips that were missing some of the veneer. So I'm gonna let that dry, come out, give it a light sand, and then it will be ready for paint. Now, this has been, I'm proud of myself, James, for this, for doing the test piece. Because how many times would I have just done it, fly by the seat of my pants and then created a bigger problem. How many times, James? Are you not proud of me?
Oh, I'm so proud.
That I was like, let's try this before I do it. And this is a week that this has been going on, and you know me, I want it done yesterday.
Yes.
I'm gonna need you to give me some props.
Welcome to my world.
When lights go out, you're in my mind. I close my eyes, so it's just you and I tell myself you'll be back again. When the stars are aligned, we will dance